Hello there. This is Hamilton from Hamilton Facts, FACTS, Facilitation, Agile Coaching, and Transformational Services. I'm here today with Deron Singh. He is a master clinical hypnotherapist, serving business owners in overcoming their chronic and anxiety burnout in just 2 weeks. Amazing. But he does have results. Deron, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Hamilton.
Good. Now, what sparked your interest in becoming a hypnotherapist and then going further to become a clinical hypnotherapist?
So my journey started off, I just had a lot of issues that I actually wasn't even aware of. It was just showing up in my behavior and just emotions that were being expressed, which were extremely difficult for me to manage, such as anger, rage, I would say even sadness. I realized I had anxiety, depression, and started getting into therapy, psychotherapy, other modalities, coaching, and I would see results, a little bit of results, but then I noticed that those problems would come right back. And I really wanted to find something out there because I had this belief that I know that there's something out there that can really be one of the most powerful healing modalities that you can really find.
Uh-huh.
And I definitely knew that it wasn't going to be through the medical system and prescriptions and drugs and things like that. And I just came across hypnotherapy and it really enticed me. And there was, my intuition was just lighting up, and it was something that was just telling me to move forward in this direction. And I just took that leap of faith, and it by far was one of the best decisions I've made in my life, as I realize it is, and I will say this countlessly each and every day, that is the best healing modality that you will ever come across.
Thank you. Now, I want to have a question for you. When you went into these other different areas like coaching, and because I know that you're, a master business coach and a success coach. Now, do you do life coaching as well? And also, how do you distinguish between coaching and hypnotherapy?
So coaching is still going to be a combination of conscious thinking and unconscious thinking. As far as life coach, all coaching is life coaching, because it's all focused on your life instead of in general. Because if you have a business, you have to have a life to have a business. To be successful, you have to be alive to have success. So it's all life coaching. So I just specifically say business coaching and success coaching, because that gets a person a better idea of what it's going to pertain to. And life coaching is a very broad thing, because life coaching can be almost anything in someone's spectrum of their life. Hypnotherapy is primarily going to be unconscious focused. Now, there are some hypnotherapy or hypnosis modality like types that are going to still be conscious thinking. The difference is also hypnosis practically makes that permanent change in an individual. And I think it's great to have coaching and some type of hypnotherapy. I'm actually leveraging my business to do strictly hypnotherapy, especially conversational hypnotherapy, mainly because I've seen such drastic results in it. Because instead of me working with the client for, I've heard of clients in psychotherapy or even in coaching for, like, I could say as little as like a year
Or decades.
or decades. Yeah. And I know of someone or I've known of someone that's been in therapy for 20 plus years, and I'm just saying it on the lower end, a year. And for me, if you're in coaching or therapy for a year, then to me, it's not working. Or better yet, there's still resistance going on. And even with the coaching aspect of it, if you're coaching someone through something, but they still need coaching on the same thing, then it's still a matter of, okay, they're not getting it, or I'm not seeing things to help them understand it. Because if you're going to coach someone for a year, it better be multiple things that you're coaching them through, which could be your business, your relationships, this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
That's why I
I'm
like it
glad
in
you,
therapy.
yeah, I'm glad you said that, because coaching and because you are a rapid transformational therapist, I know that's one of your one of your areas of specialty. And when it comes to coaching, you can coach someone for more than a year, but you are correct. It does go into different layers of coaching. If you are coaching a person for more than a year, it depends on the problem that they have. If they have a problem and you haven't quite solved it after a year, then there is something that there's more going on than just that one issue that they came to you initially for. So coaching can be a long period of time, and sometimes people do take a while to gradually they take a while sometimes to solve or unfold what the issue is. But I'm on point with you when it comes to, if they come for one reason, that reason there should be layers already exposed after a few sessions of how to solve that issue or that problem. I have a question for you. What type of clients do you see?
I primarily see business owners, and then some other high-end professionals such as attorneys and realtors, primarily business owners.
Okay, and what type of issues do they face? What issues are you solving, or what type of issues do they come to you for?
Um, their presenting problem is going to be burnout and anxiety. And I say presenting problem because that's what they think consciously the problem is. And when we do hypnosis, they realize that their problem is not even close to being that. And that's one thing I'd like to mention to people. Like, anxiety is not a root cause of something. Anxiety is a symptom, and you have a symptom of symptoms, which could be worry, nervousness, tension. And people just think, oh, that's because of my anxiety. I just have this anxiety, when anxiety can come from so many things. There's so many rooted beliefs because of anxiety. I mean, it would take this entire interview to label all of those. And what I love about hypnosis is I don't really need to know what the root cause is. My clients don't need to know either, because their unconscious mind is going to solve it for themselves. So I like to talk about it, like, where sometimes a client will be like, I don't even know what happened. And I'll be like, I don't know either. And we just start laughing. And it's because I don't need to know. There's no reason for me to know. They don't know me either. All they need to know is, okay, something's changed, something's happened. Because if something's changed, something's happened, what's the point of actually knowing what happened?
Yeah.
It's like trying to figure out what happened when you were sleeping for 8 hours. Why does it matter? You feel better. You feel refreshed. You feel energized.
Yeah. And what I hear you saying is sometimes we're human beings, and I believe that sometimes we've been taught that we need to have the root cause of our behavior. And in the long run, maybe we don't need to have the root cause of our behavior or the particular anxiety. Maybe we just need to create new behaviors and new habits. And a major thing is, just a prime example is smoking. If a person is addicted to cigarettes, do they really need to know the root cause of what caused that addiction? I don't think so. They probably need to build new habits.
No, I think that's building new habits would be coaching to me. Building new habits to me would be coaching, identifying. So I look at it this way: identifying the root cause consciously is not important. Let me just mention that. In hypnosis, they're going to resolve the root cause. They may not be aware of it consciously, but unconsciously, their unconscious mind already knows what it is.
Definitely.
Because their unconscious mind is what created it.
Yeah.
However, consciously, we want to know what it is. So my focus is to get the client to realize unconsciously, I know what it is, and speak to their unconscious mind. Because going back to what I was mentioning earlier, the client doesn't have to identify what the root cause is. What's important is for them to resolve the root cause of it unconsciously, and then they'll see that they'll no longer have to pick up a cigarette, or they can look at a cigarette or be around people who are smoking and it not entice them. That's where I realized that coaching started to come into the equation for people, because what would happen is people will start to focus on the habit building. So like, for example, let's say someone's trying to drop weight and they were like, okay, I'm going to get someone to coach me through it. Okay, great. If there's someone that is like, okay, I'm struggling with trying to stay on my workout routine, I'm struggling with trying to eat well, I'm yo-yo dieting, that to me would be an indication of a block in their unconscious mind. Or for another example, let's say I want to ride a horse. I have no knowledge of how to ride a horse. I'm not going to utilize hypnotherapy for that. What I would utilize is probably coaching. I want to find someone that can help me teach me how to ride a horse. So I look at coaching from that aspect of it.
Yeah.
I look at the modality hypnotherapy as helping people resolve something that's stopping them from obtaining something.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about hypnosis and hypnotherapy, because my understanding of hypnosis is the conscious and the unconscious mind, they talk to each other. It's a time for them to be able to, the unconscious mind comes forward and is able to communicate with the conscious mind. So the conscious mind has more understanding. Now we know that 20% of the conscious mind we only have 20%. If you had a mind, 20% is conscious, 80% is the subconscious mind. So who really rules? The subconscious mind rules, because it has 80% of all of our thinking, all of our it is the backbone of what causes of what drives our mind and drives our behaviors and drives our thinking. So when it comes to hypnosis, one of the things that I understand about hypnosis, and I know you've been doing this for a while, and you can let me know yes or no, but as far as I know about hypnosis, part of the hypnosis is being able to understand the conscious mind, to be able to understand the drive of the subconscious mind. But the other thing is for the subconscious mind to be able to be in alignment, to be able to create the change that it needs for that person to be able to move forward, or for that person to grow, or for that person to be able to do whatever they need to do in life. So when the subconscious mind decides that whatever it is, if it's becoming a more successful business owner, if it's building relationships with other people that they have not been able to build relationships through anxiety or through other underlying issues, when that subconscious mind comes on board and decides that, hey, this is what the conscious mind wants to do, and the subconscious mind is that cheerleader to help it happen. So say, for instance, when you've had a client and they're dealing with anxiety, and we know that in particular, one of the issues that they have, because we know personality types have a certain type of response to different types of stressors. So say for instance, if you have a certain personality type where you don't normally confront a person in a business situation, you normally retrieve or don't express what you need to express to get your point across or to have your views met. When the subconscious mind decides that no, this behavior is not getting you to where you need to go, and so that behavior, so the subconscious mind encourages you to speak up, or encourages you to do that report, or encourages you to be up early in the morning to make sure that whatever you need to have done as a business owner is done, as opposed to retreating back and letting someone else do that. My question is for you, when you're dealing with a client that has anxiety and wants to recognize that being a business owner requires certain behaviors, how do you get them through hypnosis to recognize that? Because we haven't mentioned this yet, but I'm going to mention it now. Suggestibility. With your hypnosis, I know that you're deciding with the client what type of words that need to be portrayed in order for the subconscious mind and the conscious mind to be on the same page. Tell me a little bit about the words, or how you get to the language that your client needs in order to move forward and be a better business owner, or be that better person that they need to be.
So it's not my words that I use their words,
Okay.
because my words don't matter, because their words are the ones that created the problem. That means their words are going to be the ones that can resolve the problem. I just repeat back to them what they tell me, and I just have them navigate their own mind for their own suggestions. So what you said is accurate, where what we're doing in hypnosis or hypnotherapy, I use them interchangeably. There's a very small difference, because you could say like street hypnosis or stage hypnosis, where it's not really a model that's being utilized to actually help someone with a particular issue or problem or mental health thing. In hypnosis, the unconscious mind is starting to come aligned with the conscious mind. So like you said, the two of them can talk together, because what's happening is there's a thin layer called the critical faculty, which is rejecting any type of suggestions or belief. Because if someone's like, okay, I'm gonna do affirmations all day long and say I am smart, and their unconscious mind's like, no, you're dumb, then it's not going to be accepted. Where in hypnosis or hypnotherapy, you're allowing those two to really start to have a conversation with one another, and actually using the conscious mind to actually convince the unconscious mind. For me, the client's doing all that work. I'm just helping them see things differently, because I love it. It's great. I think it's the fastest form of therapy. I've had clients that have been in therapy 20 plus years and resolve a problem in 40 minutes. And so it's great. And I notice also a lot of therapists get burnt out, and I'm like, this is a great way to deal with that. Instead of having a workload of however many clients per week, you could see one client and be done for the rest of the day. That client could have been a 40-minute session, especially given your target audience, like for business owners. If you have a business owner that's generating a multiple 6-figure or 7-figure business, and they know that burnout is actually preventing them from making more money, hey, you have an opportunity to create a higher price point for your service. And that's how it is.
Okay, so I mean, what you're saying is just so on point with our approach to hypnotherapy and hypnosis and how to actually help a person when it comes to different issues that they're dealing with. So how do you start when you start to work with a client, or your first visit with a, with a client? How do you start the conversation for, number one, for them to know that you have some of the keys that they need to be able to help them in a more rapid way than just regular traditional therapy? And then the other thing that I want to talk about is when it comes to your approach to middle managers, because middle managers have so much control when it comes to the people that are under them. And if you have a person that is in middle management, what is your approach going to be to them being able to recognize some of the habits that they have that could be causing anxiety from for their subordinates, or that could help them soar when it comes to dealing and communicating with middle management, with their subordinates, and with their senior leadership? How is your approach going to be to a client in that situation?
So your question is, how would I approach a middle manager who has anxiety?
Yeah, and they're one of the things that they want to do is to better their management style, or or basically become more progressive in a positive way when it comes to dealing with their subordinates.
So I see it as there's people that are unaware of their problem, and then there's people that are aware of their problem. For me, I've noticed that people who are unaware, I make them aware through my marketing strategy. So usually before people even work with me, they already know what I can do because the results sell. So if any therapist, hypnotherapist, coach, if they're not posting their results online or on the wherever, then they're doing themselves the biggest disservice, because people want to know. That's one of the best ways to sell, especially if you want to sell at a higher price point. Then you want to let people know what kind of results that you're getting. I just really focus on helping people understand what anxiety is, because sometimes people are in this state of just believing that, oh, once you have anxiety, you always have anxiety. Once you have depression, you always have depression. That's something that I was told. Like, oh, once you have depression, you always have depression. And it's funny to realize that I was told by a person, a professional, that just projected that onto me. And going back to what I said earlier, I didn't subscribe to that belief. And that's what kind of led me to hypnotherapy, because I knew that there's no way that you're telling me my mind is telling itself that this is what we're going to do for the rest of our lives. And it's unfortunate that people live their lives thinking that. So I really make an effort to really educate, as a marketing strategy, educate people on a particular thing. Now, I could work with people on any subject. It is for any subject. My process would be exactly the same. However, what's critical in business now is to niche down on a particular subject, so that way you can look like an expert. Because if someone's going to your let's say your social media platform, and one day for 1 week you're talking about anxiety, and then the next day you're talking about relationships, it's like, okay, like you're distorting what your expertise is in. What's really great about it is you're just marketing that. Once they get into their virtual seat in Zoom, all that stuff's going to come up. It's
Yeah.
just you having a particular message to get them into that seat or that virtual seat, So that way you can, for me, I'll say, like I tell people, I don't heal people. I let people heal themselves. Allow that process to take place. You just sit back, smile, and whatever your method is, you sit back, smile, or just have them close their eyes and then let them go into trance.
Cool. Tell me a little bit now. I think that is very important that people do realize, especially if you are a professional in hypnosis or hypnotherapy, that the human mind is very diverse, and that what we do, you're right, we do need to have a niche, but people will understand if you're being treated for weight loss and a person knows that you're regularly being treated for weight loss, but they recognize you as an excellent hypnotherapist, they may come to you for other things. But the thing is that you don't want to be a master of, you want to be a master of one, not just a master of everything. So, and it is important for people to know that you do have a specialty. But
Yeah.
tell me a little bit about your mission. Do you have a mission in mind when it comes to what you're doing? What do you want to accomplish as, in this profession?
What I want to accomplish in this profession is to really, I have a strong desire to help all cultures understand the power of hypnotherapy, because there are certain cultures that have resistance towards it. So for me, I have, my objective is to educate people properly on what it is, because there's a lot of misinformation about it that is dissuading people. You have certain cultures or subcultures that you can say that look at it as mind control, that look at it as um, devil worshiping, all this funny stuff. And even Hollywood distorts what hypnosis is, like movies like Get Out, or I think one Hypnotized, and that's what it was called on Netflix.
Hypnotic.
Hypnotic, yeah, things like that just distort what it is to where people think, oh, this is what it is. So I make it a mission to help educate people, because there's so many people that are suffering from something that could be resolved. Like they've been suffering for things like 20 years that can be resolved in, I mean, as little as 40 minutes. And it's like, boom, right there, it's gone. However, there's just so much resistance. And that's what I really like about doing conversational hypnosis, because it's very covert and people don't even recognize what's even happening. And that's why, what just happened? I don't know what happened. Especially, I think one of the best thing is, when you put on a great session is when you go so deep into trance that you don't even know what happened. And it happens often with me. I'm like, I had a client the other day. She's like, I don't remember the first 40 minutes of our conversation. I was like, I don't know either. But guess what? She got to the outcome either way. And that's why, like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, the beautiful thing about, well, the mysterious thing about, the human mind is that we don't know everything that happens when a person is hypnotized or they are experiencing hypnosis. But we do know that there's some very positive things that happen. And the unfortunate part is, just like you said, a lot of times the industry has a negative view. And I know one reason is because we are unregulated. We don't have to have a master's degree to be a hypnotherapist. And in America, and probably in other areas, but I know definitely in America, there is because hypnosis and because hypnotherapy and a hypnotherapist, they can cause so many positive changes in a person's behavior and in a person's life, that underlining there is this pressure for or this power play that happens where where our industry has been under a lot of scrutiny to become board certified for, as a, as a college degree. That there's lots of history when it comes to
I agree.
hypnotherapy, and with this, and with hypnotherapy and the responsibilities that we have. That's why we need to educate each other, and that's why we need to have these forums like this to make sure that we are giving the best that we can in this practice. And just like you said, debunking some of the stereotypical things that people think when it comes to being a hypnotist or being a hypnotherapist. And it's so
Yeah.
important because this is such a beautiful career. This is such a, you can change so many people's lives in so many positive ways. And you don't have to have a college degree to do it. And you don't have to have, a doctorate degree to do it either. So,
No, you're right. I state this to when I was doing coaching to a lot of my clients. I made more money from what I learned outside of school than in school. And I mean, when I say a lot more, I mean a lot more from what I learned.
yeah. And so, and nowadays, actually in this era, the pressure is not on people to get a college degree, because a lot of times college degrees don't end up producing the college industry sometimes. And I know this is probably so controversial, it may not even make the cut, but
No, that's good. That's what I like. I like controversy. That's how you make changes,
yeah,
isn't
the
it not?
the college industry, you put so much money in it, and then how much do you get out of it? What kind of results do kids get, or uh what kind of results does the industry produce? A
What's the
lot of
number
people
one
have a lot
debt
of
in
debt.
America?
That's why we're trying to get people out of debt right now, because
Number one debt.
yeah,
How did
and it's
college debt surpass credit cards?
yeah, and you think
And
about
what
the
are people
industry.
gaining from that? People are going to college, and guess what? They're coming out working in that industry of their degree, and they're still broke.
And you know what? And those are the people that we probably need to have in our seat, because they have bought into a certain system and a certain belief, and they need to really have that opened up, have that, oh, I've got to get a college degree. Oh, I've got to have I've got to have, a certain amount of years in school, or I've got to have this degree or that degree, and then I'll be successful, and then I'll be happy. And the reality is, happiness starts right here. It starts right here. You don't have to have X, Y, and Z degree to be happy, or you don't have to have X, Y, and Z uh, career path to be happy. Happiness starts right there. And
Yeah,
I know that you make a difference when it comes to, all the things that we have to deal with. So,
there we go.
uh, and I do definitely appreciate, you talking to me today. So do you have any, or do you have anything coming up that we need to spotlight, or do you have anything
Uh,
coming up?
um, nah, nothing at the moment. I'll be putting on retreats in the next coming months.
Okay.
If anyone definitely wants to check me out, they can just go to my website. It's deronsingh.com, DERONSINGH.com.
Okay.
And then handles on social media at Deron_Singh.
Okay. Okay. Great, Deron. I want you to come back and talk to us again. I've had such a good time talking to you today, and I want to know when you can come back. Do you want to come back as when you start to do your retreats? Tell me a little bit about your retreats.
So the retreats will be designed, it'll be a plethora of things that we'll be doing. It will be us doing transformative breath work, which is another modality that I would say, once again, hypnotherapy, breath therapy, or breath work. As those two are the top two right there. Meditation, yoga, processing, and then even just doing hypnosis with the participants. So it's just really designed to be a weekend or 3-day weekend of a transformative experience, because I don't like the idea of retreat, the label itself, because it, to me, it gives people the notion that like, what are you retreating from? You're like, oh, I'm retreating from my life. Well, you're not actually, because when you go back home, it looks exactly the same. So really, I want it to people realize that this is more of a transformative experience, that the moment it happens, that is where their life changes. So they're not going home and realizing, oh, now all these stuff that although my baggage was left there, where the retreat is, no, take all your baggage with you to the retreat. So that way we can unpack it and then pack it with the right stuff. And when you go back home, you're bringing all that stuff into your life, your other life, so to speak.
Cool. Can you give me an example of one or two, just one person, and how they have changed in your retreats?
I haven't put on any. Well, I haven't hosted any. I've co-hosted one for business owners. This one was probably, let's see, 2022, probably back in 2019, and that one was all yoga and meditation, sound baths. For that one, there was just a lot of just helping people get more in a serene state and a more focused mindset.
Mhm. I'm looking for actually an example of, and I will that this may come in two parts, because usually when you post things online, I'll have to say that this may be two videos, not just one. But I'm looking for an example that you can give me of how one of your clients changed.
Oh, a client. Okay, I thought you said the retreat.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Or what problem they were dealing with, and how they were able to resolve it. I know they resolve it themselves, but how, if you can give me an example without
Yeah, I mean,
getting too much
primarily,
into the personal, into who they
yeah, I
are.
mean, just primarily anxiety. Dealing with anxiety, which really stems from a lot of clients that I work with. Once again, this doesn't encompass everyone, because in their mind there's infinite amount of solutions. However, we're just focusing on the problem itself.
Okay.
And I think traditional therapy, they want to get people away from the problem. I don't get people away from the problem. I put people into the problem. How come? Because if you keep going closer and closer and closer to the problem and make it more and more uncomfortable, the bubble bursts. Traditional therapy is you go further and further away. Oh, it feels better now. But guess what happens? They get triggered and they get right back into it without knowing how to manage it. So instead of being the buffalo, this is a metaphor, instead of being the buffalo that runs away from the tornado, be the buffalo that runs into the tornado and realize that the safest place in a tornado is going to be in the middle of it.
Okay.
So it's that concept. So beliefs that can stem. This is when I was doing more like RTT. When I would do RTT, because they would be consciously telling me what their unconscious mind is telling me. The rooted beliefs would deal with not accepting themselves, not believing their love. So that turns into people pleasing. And because they're people pleasing, it means they have to be caught up in their head and know what they're saying and what they're doing to ensure that the other person likes what they're doing. Because if they're not liking what they're doing, then it means they're not going to be accepted. So, I mean, you can see how it just goes spin circle. So, I mean, when I was doing RTT, like, man, that's a lot to process. But now it's just like, I ain't got to worry about what's going on because they're doing it for themselves. And they're just like, wow, I don't know what happened. Like, how you feel? I feel so much better. I'm like, good. And it's like that time frame is drastically reduced right there.
I have one question for you. Well, I have a couple more questions, but my one question right now is what was it like having a session with Marissa Peer? And we
It was
know that
great.
RTT is rapid transformational therapy. So tell me, give me an idea, or give me the gist of the experience.
It was a great experience. I think it's one thing that she mentioned that I mentioned to everyone. The experience I had with her is the same experience I have with everyone else who I've had an RTT session with. And she has prestige, which is a good thing for any type of anyone in any type of field, because if you're driving down the street and you see some red and blue lights on top of my car, you're like, this person's an imposter. You see it on top of a cop car, you're gonna stop and probably get pulled over or stop, because you have prestige for a person in that uniform. So prestige, authority, popularity, that gives more of a benefit into a session because people have more trust. However, anyone can create that for themselves. It's just how you market yourself. So going back to the question, since I kind of steered off on that for a moment, the session was phenomenal. Ideally, it's really, as the therapist or practitioner, we're just navigating the client to what's going on in their mind. That's it.
Mhm.
I think the best therapists are those who are going to allow their clients to do it themselves. Not to, one of the worst things you can do is give your client advice, to me, in my opinion. Because how are you going to give them advice on their problem? It's their problem. Let them give themselves their own advice.
Mhm.
That's why I like to say, when people are like, what should I do, Deron? What do you think you should do? Boom. What just happened there? Conscious mind wants advice, because conscious mind is going in circles over and over again. Nothing's working. But what I just did in that moment is I got their unconscious mind, like, whoa, he's talking to us, y'all. He's talking to us.
Mhm.
And now what happened? Unconscious mind meets conscious level thinking, and then problem can be solved.
Excellent. And I do want to mention here that you weren't a patient of Marissa Peer. You were actually training. She was training you in rapid transformational therapy. I think that's important to mention. I want to know from you, as a business owner, if you can give us some advice on how to maintain your business, or just any type of business advice for us in this area, in this industry, or just any type of business advice. Doesn't even necessarily have to be for this industry. Give us a little nugget that we can take with us.
I'll go negative, then go positive. Stop thinking if you build it, they will come. Stupidest advice you can give someone. I mean, just to be real, and just like I get real with my clients, and that's how come they get great results. I don't sugarcoat things. The stupidest advice you give someone is, if you build it, they will come. It's what stops people from actually getting the results that they want and success they want in the clientele. They think, I'm just going to go to a program and then, okay, great, I'm just going to post online, hey, this is what I do, everyone, and people are just going to sign up. No, you got to realize it's 2022 that whatever profession you get into, there's going to be millions of other people doing the exact same thing. The only difference is what you have to offer it. So now what you have to do, now the advice is, how do I do that, Deron? Get out of that. Market, sell, market, sell, market, sell, market, sell, market, sell, market, sell, market, and sell. If you are not great in those two things, hey, guess what? Coaching. Get coach on it. If you're like getting coached on it and you're like, okay, I'm struggling with trying to market myself. Okay, hey, hypnotherapy. Boom.
Yeah.
Because if you're not doing those two things and you're not getting clients, I had a mentor tell me this too, and it was the best advice he gave me. I like when people give when people give you some negative advice, it can be some of the best advice you can give. I was telling him, like, yeah, he's like, how many clients do you have? I was doing online training at the time. How many clients do you have? It's like, none at the moment. So you're not making any money in your business? Like, no, not at the moment. It's like, I'm gonna be honest with you. you don't have a business. I was like, oh. And I was like, he's right. I don't. Like, how do you have a business if you have no clients or customers? So at that moment, it was a wake up call for me. How do I do that? Well, you market and you sell. And the thing is, whoever's going to watch this, I don't care how great you are. If you're not marketing yourself and you're not selling, no one's going to know how great you are except you. So you have to do those two things.
Definitely. And it's a perspective that you have. If you think that selling is something that's negative, then you're going to get blocking. You're going to be blocked, and your business is not going to prosper the way it should. You have to remember always that selling is real. You are actually promoting yourself with a service that you have. It's not and basically you are allowing others to know that the service that you have could be beneficial to them. Doesn't have to be beneficial to everyone, but the service that you have is beneficial. That's the primary reason for marketing. That's the primary reason for creating your own business, is to let people know who you are, what your service is, and to continue to let people know who you are and what your services are, so that people who want your services are able to basically readily achieve your services or readily use your services. It's not a matter of, and it takes mindset. You are so right when it comes to marketing and being able to offer your services and be paid for it. Hands down, it takes skill and consistency to do that.
Look at all the people that you can see are really big in their industry. We can say Marissa Peer, you can say Tony Robbins, Grant Cardone, this name is coming up for me, Gary Vaynerchuk. We'll say they're business known. I'll say household names. Let's say household. Tony Robbins is a household name.
Yeah, definitely.
Does he still market himself? Does he still sell?
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know about him. He's been over here for decades. You wouldn't know about him otherwise.
He still sells and he still markets. He may not personally do it, but guess what? He's got to a point where he has his team who has a team who does that. So it doesn't matter if it's not a matter of you doing the marketing and selling. It's someone in your business that's doing the marketing and selling. Because like I said, again, if you're not marketing and selling, you're probably not a business.
And there's no defense against a human need. If there is a need for it, people will purchase. People will seek out your services. There's no defense against that. So, and definitely you're in an industry that needs your services and can benefit totally and wholly from your services. Their lives will be changed in so many ways for the better, because you, Deron, are out there and you have that heart that can help other people, and you have that method that helps other people recognize the things that are going on, and then they're able to rapidly transform themselves and move forward. And from what I understand, once they've had a couple of sessions with you've already said that when a person has burnout for 2 weeks, I mean, they meet with you for 2 weeks, a minimum of 2 weeks, that chronic anxiety or that chronic issues that they have disappear. But we also know that with the method that you use, it is not a quote unquote quick fix and then it comes back. It is a way of life that they have decided to take now, a new path that they've decided to take, which helps them in so many different areas of their life. Deron, once you change one person, you know that everyone around them is better for that. So I definitely want to thank you today for sharing who you are today. And
yeah, you're welcome.
I want to hear more from you later So
Absolutely.
let's wrap it up today. And thank you so very much. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna stop the recording now.
Okay.
Okay.